Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul. Another great day here on Drive Thru Sports. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Paul Brees is joining us from Brentwood, Tennessee, as usual. And today was kind of a big day, Paul, as far as news cycle goes. Maybe not so much on the global scale or even on the national scale, but on the local scale. Big stuff.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, I woke up this morning to find out that by about 11 o'clock, our school district has decided they postponed the start date of school to the 17th of August,
Okay.
2 weeks.
Right.
So we thought, okay, we're going to get, instead of a week of planning, we'll get 3 weeks of planning, and then we'll see kids and whatever. So we'll be ready in case some of them want to go online or whatever, because they were giving them both of the options. And so today woke up, and by about lunchtime, they had decided that we are going completely online starting August 17th.
Wow.
And I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if they're going to be like, you can do it from home, or we need you to come in and do it from school.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think if they let us in the building, I'm going to go to school and do it from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because we've got the technology there, we've got the bigger screens there that I can set up my computer to, and I can be more interacting than just sharing a screen with them. Now, there might be some times when I have to do kind of what we're doing here and share screen with them, but I can do that. I can have my laptop and I could be up in front teaching the content, and then, hopefully, interacting with them as much as possible, recording it as well, and then posting it where they can watch it again and again, if they need to. So that was the big bomb that got dropped.
Now, did they mention anything about sports?
No, sports are going on as planned.
Okay.
Now, the big question mark, and it's still a big question mark with sports, is Fulton County schools, not Atlanta Public School, that's Atlanta City, but Fulton County schools, which is a lot of high schools, said that they are going online, and as long as they're online, there will be no sports.
Oh, wow.
And that's huge. Like, that's a huge decision.
Yeah.
So I don't know that – honestly, I don't think Cobb is going to follow with that. I think they're really waiting for GHSA. GHSA came out a few days ago and said that you can start football with helmets coming Monday, the 21st.
Right. Now, do you guys down there, do y'all have
the 20th. Go ahead.
Up here in Tennessee, there's like a heat test or something. They have to go through a certain amount of days without pads.
Heat acclimatization process.
There you go. That's it.
So that'll be when that starts.
Okay.
So they'll have a 5-day period that they'll have to just do helmets only, no pads.
Gotcha.
That's the same. That's not going to change. So if a kid comes in on Wednesday and that's his first day, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he would still have Monday, Tuesday of the next week to acclimatize with helmets only, while everybody else would be starting in pads and full pads on that Monday.
Right.
I can't voice enough to you how glad I am that I made the decision to transition away from like the hands-on covering of stuff from the athletic training perspective. People would complain about having to take the temperature outside, and when you first start football, because there's, like today, it was extremely hot here. We would have had to really seriously modify practice based on the guidelines. And all I was doing was taking the temperature and being, hey, coach, we need to do this. We need to do this, or we need to go to helmets only, blah, blah. I can only imagine the headache that all this is creating. I played golf with a good friend of mine today, and he said, just imagine trying to conduct a softball tryout and cleaning the softballs 4 times an hour for a 2-hour tryout. He goes, try cleaning 100 softballs 4 times an hour and trying to do a tryout. It's crazy. I don't think football will be impacted. I think they'll play. I really do think they will play, because football is so huge in Georgia. but I don't think they're going to have fans, which puts Hoya Nation Sports Broadcasting in a pretty good place, because that may be the only way you're going to hear anything about Harrison football. And we may have to expand to do some other sports as well. But, I would not be surprised if because they're saying that basketball is a main transmitting, basketball, wrestling, and tennis, because the balls, they have to touch them, and they're close to their mouth and all that sort of stuff, that what they're made of attracts and holds in bacteria or virus, droplets and stuff like that. So those are the ones, basketball, wrestling, and tennis, they're saying are the ones that are you're most likely to contract it. Football was not on that list. Now, I don't know where they're getting their data, but it's not on the list. So I think they're going to be online school, and we're going to play football on Friday night with nobody except for people in the press box. I really, really, really do think that. So that could be huge for our listening audience. I'm sure they will have. I already had somebody on Facebook today said I was talking to my daughter, and we're already planning on having listening parties, to listen to the game. So, that could be big. I don't know. It just depends. Everything could change. Like you say, everything could change in a day.
Exactly.
Tomorrow, the GHSA could say, okay, fall sports, everything that was fall, we're moving it to the spring. Football will be moved to the spring.
Right.
You never know. So,
yeah.
It's a daily thing. But that was the big bombshell that got dropped today. So we're all still reeling from it. But something else that went on now, Kentucky high school basketball, as we talked with Barry Goheen the other night, just how important it is in the state of Kentucky. And normally, like he mentioned, you grow up in Kentucky, you grow up wanting to play for either Kentucky or Louisville. Very rarely is Western Kentucky mentioned as a destination spot for top basketball talent in the state of Kentucky. But you got 2 top 100 guys that have committed there, and you just told me another 6'10" guy that's going there as well. So former Mississippi State coach Rick Stansbury's got it going on at Bowling Green.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I didn't even my son goes to Western Kentucky, and I didn't even know these 2 guys that you mentioned earlier, but Charles Bassey, I did know about him. He's the same. He'll be a rising junior. He's and I only knew him because my son had said, "Hey, Dad, we're getting this 5-star guy," and he actually, he was probably going to be a one-and-done guy, and then he got, I guess they went through the draft process, and so he came back last year for his sophomore year. And in December, he had a season-ending surgery, and he's just now being cleared to come back for non-contact stuff.
Now, was he with Western sophomore year? Okay.
Yeah. He averaged 15 points. He's 8 rebounds. So, he was the guy. And now with the addition of these 2 guys, Rick Stansbury, it's no joke, man. I think he's bringing in bigger kids than when he was at Mississippi State.
I know. This kid from Marshall County, Zion Harmon, 5'10", 175 guard. Now, my buddy Dax raves about him.
Okay.
He's just said he's a scorer big time. He can just score from anywhere on the court. So you're getting a guy that can fill it up and just cookies everywhere. Boom. And so that's what you need. That's what you need. Stansbury's doing a heck of a job up there getting these guys. 2 top 100s at Western Kentucky. You just don't see that. So kudos to them. And they can win some games. Get back in the tournament. I think the last was it Isaiah. Oh no, that guy was from Murray. Who was the last guy? A really good guy come out of Western. I wanted to say Isaiah Canaan, but he was Murray.
Yeah, he was Murray State.
Man, I don't know. I can't.
Courtney Lee, he was pretty good.
Courtney Lee was pretty good. Yeah, he was really good. Yeah, Courtney Lee. He's the guy I was thinking about, Courtney Lee.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, he averaged 26 a game,
mm-hmm.
which is awesome. But Yeah, so good stuff for Western. As far as moving into a little bit of an NFL action, we missed out on talking about it yesterday, but your boy Derrick Henry gets his deal, gets his multi-year deal, which I think was what he wanted. He got a 4-year deal. Was it like
$50 million?
$50 million. So he's $2.5 million. I think they were going to tag him for about $10.5 million. And they could have tagged him for 2 years. They could have tagged him this year and next year. I mean, that puts him third in running backs or second?
Yeah, maybe third or fourth. You got Ezekiel, McCaffrey.
McCaffrey and then Elliott.
And then
I think you got
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell's up there too.
It's crazy. Anyway,
actually, he might be like fifth.
Fifth, right?
And just in running backs, but
well, good for Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
good for the Tennessee Titans. They've locked down the quarterback. They've locked down franchise running back, and now with that little extra money they have left, do they go and get Jadeveon Clowney? And man, that would be the coup of all coups if he could pull Jadeveon Clowney in. Yeah, listen, you know how everybody gets worked up when Cam Newton wasn't signed? Listen, Jadeveon Clowney kind of rolling under the radar.
Yeah.
I think it's between the Titans and the Raiders. Just don't quote me on that, but
yeah,
I think those are the two that have a little extra Jadeveon money left.
Well, I mean, you've been pretty good with your prognosticating here, and it would make sense. I think I don't know if Nevada has a state income tax.
That's huge. You're exactly right.
So I know that Tennessee does not. Is that right?
Tennessee does not. Correct.
Does not. Okay, so that's a huge. If you're making, if you're wanting $18 million, which I heard at one point that's what he wanted a year, was $18 million a year. If you're wanting $18 million a year, and Tennessee comes in and be like, hey, we can give you 14. Well, that's like 18 in Jacksonville or somewhere else where you got in Vegas if they've got a state tax, or in San Diego, wherever, because you're paying that money. And I'm sure that his financial advisors are telling him that, look at these states' income tax laws. Even if you sign for less, you're going to be taking home more money. So, I mean, that might help the Titans. And man, that would be huge for them. Here's my question though. After all the carries last year, and they're going to keep riding him. They're going to ride. I mean, I don't know who his backup is. I mean, they dealt Lewis, right?
Say it again.
Did they deal Dion Lewis? Is he gone?
Oh yeah. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, I mean, who's the backup running back?
They drafted a kid from Appalachian State.
Okay. Is he a change of pace guy?
Yes, he is. He's not a run you over kind of guy.
Okay, so he's gonna be kind of maybe your third down back, like catch ball out of backfield, that type of back. Is that
correct?
He is his prototype. Okay.
Yeah.
If they could do that, and they could limit him, and limit him to, I don't know, what do you think the number of carries is for him that he can sustain? I mean, I don't know that he can go 320 carries. I
don't know, man.
I think you gotta keep him around like 260 to 280, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, there was an interesting stat about him carrying the ball over 20 times, and the Titans' win-loss record was like 10-1. I mean,
yeah.
And so, as a coach, you get stuff like that in the back of your mind, and you got the guy with the clipboard standing and say, hey, Mike, he needs 2 more carries. He's almost to 20.
Well, here's the thing, too, is most of the time in those games that you're 10-1 or 13-1 or whatever, where he's carried the ball more than 20 times, you're ahead, and you saw Mike Rabel. You know what he's about.
Yeah.
From the best. You're salting the game away late, running the ball every single play. So
right.
as I get the stat, it may be skewed a little bit because of that. But again, there's no denying that if you keep the ball in your best player's hands, you got a better chance of winning than if you're throwing the ball. I used to
Right.
coach with one of our football coaches. He used to tell me he was a defensive line coach, and so anytime we could sustain a long offensive drive, it was better for his defense. So it drove him nuts when we're just pounding the ball, running and just gashing people, and then we don't get up and throw a waggle, or we throw a pass over the middle or whatever, and it really ticked him off when we throw a pick. We're doing one of these long drives, and we're just gashing people, and then all of a sudden we throw the ball and we throw a pick. He's like, only 3 things can happen when you throw the ball. He was from Massachusetts. He goes, only 3 things can happen when you throw the ball, and 2 of them are bad. You're either gonna throw a pick, or you're gonna throw an incompletion, which stops the clock. And the only other thing is you throw a completion. I mean, so 2 out of the 3 things that can happen, he's right. They are bad. So if you're built around running the ball, controlling the clock, playing defense like Tennessee is, you're going to have a guy that's going to have a heck of a workload at the end of the year, and you just hope that they can manage it.
Listen, I'm gonna throw one more Titans news that you may or may not know, Adam. Greg Joseph is currently the kicker for the Tennessee Titans. The former kicker. Yeah, I know. Listen, don't worry about Greg Joseph. Okay. Congratulations, Greg Joseph.
All right.
The Titans went through about 4 kickers last year, and he was the last one. Steven Gostkowski, the former Patriots place kicker, just bought a house in Franklin, Tennessee. He is not under contract by any NFL teams, but lo and behold, he just now purchased a house in Franklin. So don't be shocked if he is a day one kicker for the Titans.
Wow, that would be huge. Pro Bowler. I mean, that's big time.
Sure.
That's huge. Interesting. Yeah, Titans seem to have a little bit of an issue with their place kicking duties last year, and kind of since they let go of Ryan Suckup, I think they've had some inconsistency.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate. But anyway, all right. So next is my favorite topic. It's Brees's NBA bubble update. So
I'll tell you what.
Talk to me. Like I told you, I've been on the golf course all day, so I gotta find out from you.
Well, Zion Williamson, who, in my opinion, and in some other people that we know's opinion, this whole bubble thing and this whole playoff thing is built around for Zion to get the 8 seed so they can play the Lakers, and kind of a big matchup, marquee matchup, possibly a passing of the torch. Obviously, they don't want Zion to win, but, you know, as in pro wrestling, you always have the good guy and the bad guy. You know, the bad guy makes the good guy look even better. Well, here's LeBron's going to try to make Zion look better. And the NBA has dealt their hand again. Zion has left the NBA bubble for personal reasons. Nothing was explained, no details given. Now, the rules were set. If you left the bubble, you had to quarantine yourself when you came back for 10 days.
Yeah.
Here we go. Special exceptions all of a sudden have popped up.
Nuh-uh. You're kidding me.
Zion, when he comes back, if he could pass 4 COVID tests negative, he only has to quarantine himself for those 4 days. Congratulations, Zion. You're back just in time to get this thing kicked off. And the NBA and the conspiracy theorists have done it again. The NBA bubble has burst.
All right, so here's the deal. He leaves today, right?
Yes.
Let's say he comes back tomorrow. That's the 17th. Under everybody else's rules, he has to quarantine till the 27th. Is that right?
That would be the case.
If he was a normal person. Oh, no. He's special. He's Zion. He's the new chosen one. Okay.
And a little side note away from Zion is, we jokingly said that Chris Paul was the Silver's right-hand man. The NBA has set up a hotline tip line for anybody that would like to, an anonymous tip line for anybody that would like to say, hey, Adam Silver, so-and-so has left the bubble. So-and-so has brought in somebody from the bubble. Anonymous tip line. And as you mentioned the other night, these people from the outside are finding ways to get in. And, will the bubble burst? That's going to be the big question.
I mean, and they still got 2+ weeks before the first game.
That's
Listen,
the greatest thing ever. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not – listen, they won't make it. They can't handle it. They can't handle the sacrifice. These guys can't handle sacrificing. They can't. And I mentioned this. I was talking with somebody today. Like, everybody that is like our age and younger, like the reason why we're having the issue that we're having with these, second wave or with everybody still getting sick and all these cases coming up is because people our age on down have refused to sacrifice anything and have never been asked to sacrifice anything their entire life. They've never gone through a draft. They never had to ration food like people that were around in, World War II. They've never been through a depression.
Wait a minute. There was a toilet paper shortage.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's the big thing. Oh my gosh, I can't get any toilet paper. I've got to be careful how much I use. I can't just indiscriminately, unroll half the roll and flush in the toilet.
Adam, can you spare a square?
Can you spare? Can't spare a square.
Oh man.
Can't do it.
I totally see where you're coming from for sure. But
do you see what I mean?
Absolutely.
This generation, I'm not talking about our kids. Our kids are part of it too, but we're part of it too. I look back at my life, I've never really had to make any huge personal sacrifices. Hey, I can't use water, for 3 days, or I need to conserve my food, or I can't drive this, because of a fuel shortage, this, that, and the other. We've never had to do that. We've never give up anything. And because of that, you got people, you can't make me wear a mask. You can't make me do this. You can't make me, when it's for the public good, and it's nobody's willing to not go out to eat. Nobody's willing to not do this, not do that. It's crazy.
You can't tell me to wear a mask during this thing.
Can't tell me, yeah. And these NBA guys, these NBA guys is no different. I mean, it's no different. They're like, okay, be in your bubble, but look, I want to get food from this restaurant. I don't care that it's not on the approved list. That's what I want.
Yeah.
It's so selfish. I mean, this is just this. What this has shown is how selfish we have become as a society. Because other countries in the world got it figured out. They sacrificed for 2-3 months, and now they don't have the problems we do. All right. Anyway.
All right. Look, hey, real quick. You got off your soapbox, and I'm proud of you. You know that I gave you the heads up on Matisse Thibault's YouTube. Tony Brown Jr. of the Washington Wizards has also created his own video montage of the bubble. And so you're starting to get a little options going. So keep up with it. It's a fantastic watch. And hey, tomorrow, let's see what happens at the NBA bubble.
Oh yeah. All right. So switching gears to the NFL, Madden ratings came out yesterday, Paul, and one of the things that got me was one of the they ranked the top 10 pass rushers, and number one, obviously, on the 99 club was Aaron Donald. That's a no-brainer. Okay, well deserved. What I didn't get was their number two. Guess who the number two was?
Pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. I don't know. What we got?
J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt. Okay. Probably should have thought of that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I would put him at a number two at a 98 rating, though. Maybe like J.J. Watt, like 3 years ago,
Right.
2016, J.J. Watt maybe. But I mean, you're looking at guys like he's ahead of guys like Khalil Mack and Von Miller.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not the one breaking it down. You know, I don't know. I don't see J.J. Watt being a number 2. Aaron Donald's a straight number 1. No argument there. I mean, you got guys like Myles Garrett, number 9. Cam Jordan, number 6. Chris Jones from the Chiefs, who just signed a big deal, is number 10. You know, I mean, J.J. Watt's ahead of Fletcher Cox, who's a game wrecker. That guy is an absolute game wrecker. Run game, pass game, doesn't matter. I mean, if you got him in the middle of your line, like and he's plays D tackle, and he's the 5th number 5. You know, I mean, D tackles. I mean, that's edge guys. But dude, he gets at you from the middle of the line, and he's being double teamed most of the time. So anyway, I don't know. There's some other interesting ratings as well.
Yeah, something that popped out to me was the quarterback ratings. Your boy Matt Ryan, number 7.
Yeah,
that's not
interesting.
Bad.
Well, and what's interesting too is Phillip Rivers went from 3 to like nothing. He's not even in the top 10.
That guy can barely throw it 10 yards. Man.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and what was interesting too is Brady dropped.
Yeah.
Brady dropped from like a 96 down to a 90.
Right.
And another rating of the I mean, obviously you got Mahomes as your 99er, Russell Wilson 97, and then Lamar Jackson was 94, and then I believe came Brady after that at 90. But you know, one of the things that I looked at that guy who took a huge jump, which we've already talked about once tonight on our show, Derrick Henry, he jumped from an 83 up to a 93. So he's now number 2 overall behind Christian McCaffrey, the 99. And there's a tie for 3rd.
Listen, I see where you're going to go with this. This one guy that you're about to mention shouldn't even be in the top 10.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You know who tied, right?
Yeah, I do.
Nick Chubb and Ezekiel Elliott.
One of them deserves it. One of them needs to take a hike.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Because the guy behind them may be better than both of them. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, Barkley.
Jeez,
he can catch the ball out of the backfield, and he's a great runner between the tackles. He's got speed. I just don't think Elliott is a top 3 guy. I really don't. I mean, with McCaffrey,
I don't think Nick Chubb is either.
I mean, it's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy jumped from being 16th, Chubb, all the way to 3.
Yeah.
And Elliott
who does he play for?
Well, he plays for the Browns.
Nick Chubb?
Yeah. I mean,
who is his counterpart at Georgia that's up with the Patriots?
Oh, Sony Michel.
Sony Michel. I like him.
Yeah. Sony Michel's. Yeah, I sound like Sony Michel as well. Todd Gurley dropped out of the top 10 and should have.
Sure.
Really interesting to see if there's any tread on those tires when it starts down here.
Yeah.
Because everybody's all excited because he was a Bulldog, and I'm like, look, pump the brakes on that because there was something wrong with him for 16 months. You know, the Rams basically rode him, signed him to that big contract, and then they're like, dang, he can't play. So I like him. I hope he does great here. But I just don't know. Who was number 4?
Oh, on the running backs?
Yeah.
Well, it was McCaffrey, Henry, Chubb, Elliott for 3, Saquon, and Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook's a guy that, you know, I think a lot of teams would like to have him. And then, of course, I think Melvin Gordon is on that list as well, as being up there pretty high. and I'm trying to think. Of course, Alvin Kamara, I think is
Aaron Jones was next.
Aaron Jones,
Green Bay.
Yeah, I had Aaron Jones on my fantasy team. Boy, he won many games for me because I think he had like 19 touchdowns or something. He was incredible for me this year. Yeah, it's just interesting. And I actually watched a special on how they do these. Like, there's a whole team of guys at EA Sports that games, break down film. I mean, and they adjust it every week. Did you know this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And they go to the Pro Bowl, and guys are like, hey, man, why am I 92? It's like, why is my speed a 91?
Yeah.
So I'm at least a 94, so all this stuff. So it's kind of interesting. And they get all bent out of shape with their rankings on these video games, which I think is funny. All right, that gets us to our Major League Baseball segment of the night. Now, when I put this on here, and you didn't know what I was talking about either.
Well, you had mentioned the gentleman's name, and I wasn't putting two and two together, but yes, I have seen highlights of him for the Dodgers on Twitter. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So this gentleman's name is Francisco Herrera. Okay. He is the clubhouse manager for the Dodgers. Played some junior college baseball and would be out there shagging fly balls and like going all out. And they're like, hey, you need to, and somebody, basically saw him and was like, hey, I think I could probably get you a tryout. He's like, really? So they got him a tryout, and I think he was in spring training. And one of the executives, saw him. And so he's been working out with the Dodgers. And one of the things is he's been they bring him in, and I think they've been DHing for him, practicing the DH rule. So the kind of the running joke is they don't let him hit. He plays left field. I think he plays any outfield position. Mostly plays left field. But his nickname is Chico, and it's basically become this lore now in the Dodgers organization. And if you put hashtag Let Chico Hit on your Twitter post, it gets read by 500,000 people because this whole like Let Chico Hit phenomenon has kind of overtaken the Dodgers and all their players and all their Twitter. So you see them with Let Chico Hit T-shirts. Justin Turner was wearing one the other day, and in fact, I tweeted that out. But yeah, man, this guy like robbed Mookie Betts the other day of one off the wall and doubled up somebody at first. I mean, it was a great play. Now he'll never make the team, but it's a good story. So.
Well, it is a good story, and he actually, I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but made a couple appearances as a pinch runner as well.
Okay.
But Dodger manager Dave Roberts said that we've likely seen the last of Herrera playing in these games. As more of the players are starting to report to the camp, and others are getting healthier. So
yeah.
It would be neat if they let him at least hit one time just for just for fun, because it's always a fun story to see guys that,
especially now they're just in training camp. They haven't scrimmages yet, because once the season starts, every at bat's going to mean something. So you're going to be able to just say, hey, trot him out there like you would if it was a 162 game season, have him on a call up and say, put him in as a defensive replacement in the sixth inning so he gets in at bat. I don't think that's going to be something that is feasible, which is unfortunate because, like you said, it's a great story. I think that anybody that grew up playing baseball would love to have the opportunity. Just give me one at bat so I can say, even if I strike out, I'm 0 for 1, just give me a shot.
Well, here would be the crazy thing is if like Kershaw came out there and pitched and he hit one out, then what do you do? There's a lot of what ifs, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And Kershaw looks at Dave Roberts and says, Hey, Skip, I was really trying to strike him out.
He didn't hit a mistake,
No,
for those things. Yeah. Again, very interesting stuff. So that gets us to, as Paul and I will mention this multiple times, sometimes our favorite segment, no matter what's going on in the world of sports. And that is our human interest story of the night. And for us tonight, I chose this yesterday, and I was really looking forward to hashing it out with Paul because he's been a coach for over 25 years. I've been around sports as an athletic trainer and coach for 23 years and counting. I don't know about Paul, but I'm sure he has with kids. I've been to every type of sporting event, high school, youth league you can imagine. Basketball, soccer, lacrosse, volleyball, football, baseball, track and field. You name it, I've been to it. So I thought, let's just see who we think, what sport has the worst sports parent. Okay, and I didn't even mention swimming, which my kids do, and that's up there. Trust me.
I would be shocked if there was a parent that jumped in the water. And
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that always amused me about the whole situation is the parents, and there are some that don't say anything, and that's the smart thing to do because the kids cannot hear you. Okay, they are in the water, swim. They cannot hear you. I've asked my kids, what do you hear when you're in the pool? They say nothing.
Yeah.
But there's still those other parents that will yell and scream and get down by the pool deck and, the whole 9 yards. But most of the time, the difference is with swimming, the yelling, it's all encouragement. Okay? So they don't go on this list. Are they vocal?
Well,
Are they vocal? Yes.
Yeah.
But they do not make this list because this list is worst sports parents. I didn't say louder.
Yeah.
Parents.
Let me ask you this, since you're a swim coach. What's the deal with the whistling?
The whistle? Are you talking about whistling?
So like if they're doing the breaststroke, I've heard like the coach whistle every time the swimmer goes up, and then he goes down and he doesn't whistle, and he comes up and he whistles and he goes. Have you ever seen? I mean, am I dreaming this up?
I mean, I don't know that there's anything actually to it. I mean, we have a couple other coaches that are actually the swim. I'm the paperwork guy. Okay.
Well, I understand, but you go to the meets,
but
right?
I'm at the meets. Yeah, I'm at the meets, and I hear it. And I think it's just. I don't know what the
tempo, pace,
pace. Just so
it's.
I don't know.
It's really.
I don't know.
It's really prevalent at the Olympics. You can really hear that kind of stuff at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, I think maybe it has something to do with, like you said, like with the pace.
Right.
Making sure that they're staying on point, staying in cadence with that whistle, because you can hear that if you're in the water.
All right, I'm going to chime in. I'm going to get this thing going. We're sports parents. First of all, you talked about swimmers not being able to hear you. Wrestling parents. I was a wrestling parent. They can't hear you. They can't hear you at all.
No.
But sometimes they go above and beyond. But the worst sport parent are the AAU basketball parents. Saturdays, Sundays, especially when it's championship. I know you would be shocked to know that I do referee AAU.
You're a brave man.
I do it.
You're a brave man.
Those people are nuts. And it's the ones that come from out of town. So if there's a tournament in Nashville, if they're coming from like Birmingham or Memphis or something, I mean, I've gotten to my assigned gym, and then the two refs from the next gym over come up and say, "Listen, we have to switch gyms because these parents are on us too hard," or the greatest call in AAU basketball is the and one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. You've got to be kidding me. There's a wide open layup. The kid lays it off the glass. There's nobody around him. And one. What am I talking? What are we doing? So I saw a video of one of my former students filming her son playing in a travel game the other day. And this dad comes on the field and shoves the ref right in the back. And I'm just like, what is going on? So if my answer is AAU basketball, worst parents, hands down.
Well, I'll tell you that I thought that you were going to go here initially, but you didn't. You detoured on me, and that's okay because I'm going to hit you with the wrestling parents. Okay? And a close second would be the soccer parents, but the wrestling parents take the cake because I have witnessed multiple fights break out in the stands between parents. Okay. I have also seen two kids are wrestling. Okay.
Right.
And there's throws that are perfectly legal as long as you don't let go of them. Right. Okay. This one kid slams. It was a tournament.
Sure.
It was at our school. This one kid slams this kid down. The kid that got slammed, his brother comes out of the stands and tackles the wrestler that just slammed his brother. Then it was just like everybody emptied. It was crazy. They had to empty the gym. It was out of control. It was absolutely out of control. I say I've never seen anything like that. But I have. I've seen it multiple, and I've never seen a participant or family member attack another wrestler that, threw their kid or whatever, or their brother or whatever. But I have seen on more than one occasion parents go at it in the stands to where we had to call the police and had to have them both escorted out. And they're nuts. And you talk about the call in basketball. I mean, wrestling, is the same way. I mean, they're yelling all kinds of stuff like, "That's a chokehold. That's a." I mean, that's the one in wrestling. He's locking his arms.
Yeah.
It's one of that's illegal. That's illegal. Illegal takedown. All this stuff, and they're yelling, and they don't know squat. They don't know anything. But to echo what you were talking about with basketball. Oh, not only is it the and one call, it's the he's over the back. We always, all of us coaches are always like, when we're watching a game, we always like point out, the parents that are like, he's over the back. That was over the back. We're like, there's a guy who really knows his basketball right there. The only thing they know to say is over the back. That's all they know.
Yeah.
Or, that was a charge, or his feet were moving, or he wasn't set. Those, somebody that knows very little about the game because they have about 3 go-to phrases that they'll go to in basketball, and wrestling's the same way. So for me, just on my personal experience, what I've witnessed, wrestling parents are straight up crazy. And it partly due to the fact that wrestlers are straight up crazy too. You have to be a little off to be a wrestler.
Sure.
I mean, you're a wrestling parent.
Yeah.
Think about some of Connor's teammates. Some of the crazy stuff they would do just so they could wrestle.
Yeah, and even crazier, Adam, is the things they wear pre-match. Wrestlers have this big thing about, it's not about how. It's about how you look, what you wear, but it's not about how cool you look. One of the best wrestlers I've ever saw while my son was wrestling used to come in wearing a Dora the Explorer backpack. He would take his socks, put them over the top of his sweats, and his hood up. And this guy was a monster on the rest. Of course, nobody said anything to him because he would kill him. But they just don't have a care in the world.
No, they really don't. No, they really don't. And they just do their thing.
Yeah, wrestlers are special for sure.
They're different. They're a completely different animal. They're different athletes, man.
Yeah.
And hats off to them because there's no other sport where you have to be at the top of every level of physical fitness in order to compete. Okay,
100%.
and you know what I'm talking about, the five pillars of fitness. Okay, cardiorespiratory, flexibility, muscular strength, muscular endurance. All of those things. You have to be at the top if you're going to be any good. If you're not flexible, you're going to get hurt. Your wrestling career will be about 2 matches. If you're not strong enough, you're going to get pummeled. If you don't have the endurance, you're not going to make it. If you don't have the conditioning, you're not going to make it. You're going to get killed. So, so I do have the utmost respect for the athlete. But boy, their parents are off the chain. They're crazy. Definitely. But anyway. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys listening to tonight's episode of Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul. Encourage you guys to follow us on Twitter at DThruSports and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul, as well as listen to our podcast on our different platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeart. Just search Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul, and it will come right up. For Paul Brees in Brentwood, Tennessee, I'm Adam Freeman in Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks for listening to Drive Thru Sports with Adam and Paul.